Me and my girlfriend, we were lying in bed, and 5 a.m. The siren started. So I woke up, and there was a lot of uh, media already before that. Like the media started reporting activity on the Russian border in November of 2021. So there was a lot of talk of war and those sort of things, but nobody sort of expected it to be the way it is today. So I woke up 5 a.m., sirens going, and I left back to the UK for 9 months.
Welcome to the Relocated South African, the podcast that explores the lived experiences of South Africans navigating life across borders, whether that means leaving, returning, or rebuilding. As always, I'm your host, Jan Hugo from Lagos in Portugal. Check out our website, www.therelocatedSouthAfrican.com, and subscribe on your favorite platform. So today my guest is John Pereira. He's a South African currently living in the Ukraine. Yeah, it's not the Ukraine, is that right? You say Ukraine.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, so it's so cool to have a guest who lives in Ukraine, and John is very active on TikTok, and he said to me that the power may go down while we're talking, so let's hope that doesn't happen. Welcome, John. So lucky to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Jan.
Excellent. So I always ask my guests just for a short history, where'd you grow up, go to school? You told me beforehand that you lived in the UK for a while, now in the Ukraine. So just give us a bit of background history and so on.
Yeah, so I start every TikTok video with "I'm a South African living in Ukraine." So I think I'll start now as well. So I'm a South African living in Ukraine, and yeah, I'm from Kempton Park. I grew up in Kempton Park in South Africa. For a while, I lived in Natal when I was a little boy. My dad's an aircraft engineer, so we always were around airports. So that's probably why we in Kempton Park. But yeah, so I left South Africa when I was 20. I finished matric, and then my dad said to me, you want to go to university or do you want to go overseas? And I was never really somebody for academic. So I was like, okay, I struggled in school a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'll go overseas. So off I went to London, and that was in 2004, end of 2004. And I've never went back.
And so your trip to the UK, what did you do there?
So obviously my dad used to work for SAA, South African Airways. So I don't know if they're still around or not.
I think
I don't know really. I've not seen any of those airplanes around. So anyway, I got a free pass. So I flew over to London for free with my dad gave me the free pass for South African Airways, and I didn't plan anything. Like I was 20 years old. I wanted to go overseas, and this is before I knew how to use the internet. So I just went. I mean, internet was for rich people in South Africa, back then, So off I went to London. I didn't set up a job. My dad gave me like £250 or something like that, and then I worked like as a labourer in London.
Okay, and then you said that you ended up in the UK Armed Forces. How did that happen?
The British Armed Forces.
The British Armed Forces. Sorry, yeah.
The British, yeah. So, but that was after a while. So I went over to South Africa on a working holiday visa for 2 years. So for 2 years, I was messing around. So I did some medical trials. I don't know if you're familiar with those. Like I think a lot of South Africans, they do this when they go to the UK. So you go in they test medicine on you. You're like a guinea pig.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah. So that was my first paycheck. I went to London and I found this. It's called a medical trial. So I went in for a medical trial. Luckily, I don't smoke, so I got accepted. I went into the hospital for 10 days. They tested antidepressants on me, like a new antidepressant on me. So I had like wires and all kinds. I enjoyed it because it was there was food, there was computers and internet and all these things, So for me, it was all right. But some people later on they actually died doing this. So I don't recommend doing it, but but yeah, that's so I got my first paycheck like that, and then I went off to do some labor jobs, and then the working holiday finished. So 2 years passed, and I had to make a plan. I was like, okay, do I go back to South Africa or do I stay? And then I met some, but I ended up in Scotland by that time, and so I met some guys there. They said to me, we're in the army, some Scottish guys, and we have a lot of South Africans with us in the army. So this is already 2007. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. And I got their contact details, and I went to visit the guys in the barracks in Edinburgh, and in Draycon Barracks. I thought it was cool, because I grew up with, hearing all my uncle's stories and my dad's story. I don't know, did you serve in the South African Army?
Yeah. I had to do 2 years.
Yeah. So, so everybody had a story that, in South Africa, but my generation didn't because, so I thought, okay, this is my chance. I can get a British passport. I can also have some military stories, some army stories to tell around the fire, around the braai. But yeah, so off I went to the army in a Scottish regiment. So
And was it infantry?
I was infantry. Yeah. So that's maybe a mistake I made. I think I should have probably tried engineers but like I said, I wasn't very academic, so I just wanted to get in. So I just took whatever they gave me.
And they put you, the South African passport wasn't an issue to join the British.
No, so I mean, yeah, my visa was about to expire. So I think I had like 2 months of my visa left over. So they said to me, okay, apply for a holiday visa, get 6 months holiday visa, or 3 months, I can't remember. So I applied for the holiday visa, got the holiday visa, and then I managed to get through the process. But I mean, it was during Afghanistan and Iraq that time, so they were recruiting heavily from the Commonwealth.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was.
Wow, that's amazing. And what was training like? Was it tough as an infantry guy?
Yeah, so it's all fun and games when you say you're going to go to the army, yeah. But then you actually get the reality check of, the fitness, the exercises, the discipline. I mean, it's also it's in Yorkshire, in the basic training. It's in England, a place called Catterick. So I mean, the weather was. I got in in February, so the weather was already starting to change, but it was still not so lucky, So yeah, I did have a shock. It was a culture shock. And when I first I didn't really understood what was going on in Afghanistan and Iraq at the time as well. I was quite naive, to be honest. The first videos I saw of them fighting in these places, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is actually real. It's not. It's not. I don't know what to expect really, but.
And I guess in your case, when you go in as a volunteer, we had to go, so we had no choice, in South Africa. But you're going in,
yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah, but so now I live in Ukraine, right? And I'm sure we'll speak about Ukraine. But in Ukraine, they don't have national service. They don't have it yet.
That's amazing.
And for me, it's like confusing, right? Because the country is at war, and why are they not? Why is not everybody going to the army, even if it's like basic training? Like they don't have it here. So anyway, I think Ukraine can learn from South Africa during those period of times. Like first of all, manufacturing everything. Like in South Africa, we built some amazing military vehicles. Roy Falk, I don't know, you probably know more than I do.
Yeah, and the Roy Cut and Roy Falk and.
Yeah, and in Ukraine they're too dependent on the West. So I believe South Africa could be a really good example for how they should be maneuvering this war. But yeah, we'll probably talk about that later. But anyways, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was in the army for 6 years in Britain.
Okay, and I mean, did you actually get deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq?
Yeah, so I finished my basic training 2007, end of 2007. And then I was deployed to Iraq like a month later.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went to Basra in Iraq. And it was okay, it was right towards the end of the war. So, I mean, not long after that, the British actually pulled out. So I was like one of the last guys that actually was in Basra, and it was okay. I mean, we didn't have much action there. We were mostly doing patrols in vehicles in Basra itself, and doing convoys. Like escorting convoys down to the where the port was. So
That is just fascinating. I'm sure. I mean, you must be able to write a book about all those experiences.
I don't know. Yeah, and then 2009, I deployed to Afghanistan. Sorry.
Okay, and that was.
Yes. Yeah, that was worse. Yeah, that was. But it was proper soldiering. It was like everything was on foot. We went in vehicles, so you had your kit, you had your backpack, you had to carry your water, you had to carry your ammunition. So yeah, I got strong in Afghanistan. I was a GPMG gunner, general purpose machine gunner. So I had all the link. So I was like carrying 800 link on me. So my bag was heavy. I think heavy, very heavy. So yeah, every day just doing foot patrols in Sangin in Helmand province. So that was quite a very active zone for, there was like craters everywhere. Past guys that got hit by IEDs, they stepped on IEDs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you actually have bullets coming at you?
Yeah, so not every day, but yeah, we had a few contacts. Yeah, we lost 2 guys in that tour. 2 guys got blown up. I lost 3 of my friends lost their legs. So it was a reality. It was a proper.
It's a reality. Yeah, it's a reality.
Yeah, it was. Check. And then I went home, and then you're standing around the fire, and your uncle is like, "Yeah, you young guys, you don't know what war is." And I was like, "Well, Afghanistan was pretty, but you know what South Africans are like. They're quite." So yeah, we saw action. Yeah, it was good.
Okay, awesome. And then so the next part is you left the UK, but you went to Ukraine. Now, to the casual observer and news follower, that just doesn't make sense. Tell us what happened.
So I finished the army, and then I went to work as a bouncer in Scotland. Okay. So I tried to go to I went to the university to do a business management, because the army helps you when you get out, right? So they helped me financially. I went for first year in university. I didn't like it. I didn't last. But I worked as a bouncer for another 6 years in Scotland.
6 years. Wow.
Yeah. And I was building my business on the side. So during the day, I would work on my online business. So I started an Amazon store. So doing that during the day, and then at nighttime, I'll go work on the doors in nightclubs and bars.
Oh, word. That's interesting. So any interesting stories being a bouncer? We always see the UK movies and things about.
Yeah, but I mean, so I'm from the East Rand, right? So Boksburg, Germiston, So I know what it's like in Boksburg, and I wouldn't be a bouncer in Boksburg, no ways. Like the guys just mood each other all the time. I don't know. You're from the Cape, right? So yeah, Kempton is rough, the East Rand's rough, So. But in Scotland, the people are very controlled, right? Because everything is very health and safety is a big thing, and people are a little bit brainwashed to follow the law. I wouldn't say brainwashed; it's just they follow the law better than us South African.
Yeah, it's more respect for the law, I guess.
It is. So you as I was never a big guy or anything, but I could speak to people. I never had to lift my hands. Sometimes I had to grab people and get them out and whatever. But I was never really I got punched twice. One time by a guy and one time by a girl.
That's funny. If she knew you were from the East Rand, she wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but Scottish girls are tough. I don't know if you know any Scottish girls, but they're tough girls, So yeah, I did that for 6 years. I got my passport by the time I left the army. I got the British passport, so that's how I could stay longer. And then once my business started making good money, and I set it up in a way I can travel. So in 2018, everything was good with the business, and I decided to come to Ukraine. 2018. For holiday. I just came here for holiday.
Yeah, and that was obviously before the war.
Well, the war already started that time. Remember, it started 2014.
14 in
Crimea, Donetsk, Lugansk.
Yeah.
But it was not the whole country.
Okay. And when you moved across, you could just continue with your business. You liked it, and you decided to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I met I met a couple of ladies here, and obviously, whenever there's love involved, you can make some decisions, right? So yeah, so I met some Ukrainian girls, and I was like, yeah, it's lucky here. It's like cheap, compared to UK, it's cheap, it's compared to West Europe. So, and I made a lot of friends. There was a lot of foreigners at the time here, a lot of American guys, Swedish, Germans, Brits. So we had like a little community, expat community, and everybody was sort of online business and IT and computers and all those sort of things. So we had a really good community, and then COVID happened, and then so that was like the beginning, and then the war started.
Yeah. And John, initially you said you were in Kyiv. Kyiv, I believe, is how you pronounce it. It's not Kiev, it's
Yeah,
Kyiv.
yeah, Kyiv.
Yeah. And what was that like during the war?
So before the full-scale invasion, I enjoyed Kyiv. That is, because for 12 years I didn't really party. In the army. It was quite, I traveled a lot, went to Germany, went to Cyprus. It was like a places I went in the army, but I could never really enjoy myself. I never went out, it was always in the barracks. So I always wanted to, I like a jaw, like a jaw. And so in Kiev it was lacquer, there was nightclubs, there was cool bars, it was full of beautiful girls, it was cheap. So I think I sort of fell in love with that, like I really enjoyed my social life in Kyiv.
Hmm.
And then the war started like in 10 days from this recording. It will be the 4-year anniversary of the
Yeah.
full-scale invasion. So on the 22nd of February, me and my girlfriend, we were lying in bed, and 5 a.m. The siren started. And, so I woke up, and there was a lot of uh, there was a lot of media already before that. Like the media started reporting activity on the Russian border in November of 2021. And so there was a lot of talk of war and those sort of things, but nobody sort of expected it to be the way it is today, So yeah, so I woke up 5 a.m., sirens going, and I left back to the UK for 9 months.
And also you mentioned that they targeted the electrical infrastructure, so a lot of load shedding, power failures, and that kind of.
That's now, yeah. So I would say probably this year has been the most effective. So they really broke it this year. Like recently, like previous years, it was like maybe like a week of inconvenience, but this year, yeah, it's been bad. So I think they're getting better. Like they're getting better at hitting their targets. And they're overwhelming the system now. Like they send in like 200 Shaheds as drones, and then they followed up with these ballistic missiles.
And
yeah,
it must be, I mean, it's really interesting just from a news perspective, because for me, sitting on the outside, you read, this about Putin, this about Zelensky, this about Trump. You actually don't really know what to believe and what is really going on there. What's your take on the thing? Is there an end in sight, or is it just going to carry on?
So so I don't really follow it anymore. Like I've come to realize that I cannot change anything. I like this place. I like the culture. I feel tremendous sympathy for the people, especially the older people, the pensioners and the kids. I feel really sorry for them, because a pension here is small. It's like South Africa. I mean, my mother's on a pension in South Africa. I think it's 2,000 rand a month that she's getting from the government, So here it's the same. So I feel tremendous sympathy for the people. I mean, there's a lot of I don't know how to say it, around Ukrainians stealing money out of the war and buying these multi-million-dollar houses in Europe, and I'm sure that's happening. And I'm not going to say, I mean, there's corruption here as well, like in South Africa. It's like whenever there's new money. So remember, South Africa went through apartheid, and after, and now you go to Sandton, for example, in Johannesburg, yeah. And you go to Sandton and you see the people that's hanging out in the restaurants in Mandela Square. Have you been to Sandton?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go to Mandela Square, and there's a lot of affluent blacks in Sandton, like in the restaurants, and they're all wearing the Prada, and they're all wearing the Louis Vuitton bags and all this stuff. So I strongly believe that the old money and new money. Us farmers in South Africa, we are old money. We don't really like to show our wealth. I mean, it does happen, but it's not so. I mean, you go to Sandton, it's pretty obvious. And the Ukrainians are the same. Like after the Soviet Union collapsed, like before the Soviet Union in the USSR, people were poor, they had their own struggles. It was like their version of apartheid. And now people like to show off here in Ukraine, like, so you can go to a nice restaurant here. There will be girls wearing $2,000 clothing, G-Wagons and Land Cruisers and those sort of things. So my point is that in Ukraine, our history is more or less the same, than South Africa.
And you've moved from Kyiv to further west, you said. What is that town called where you are now?
So now I'm in Lviv.
Lviv, okay.
Yeah.
And life there, is it just a normal city like any other European city, or other than the electricity issues? Or do you guys have a sense of fear as well?
So I don't think as much as in the east. I'm sure there's still people scared here because we do get attacks, but it's nothing like in Kyiv. Like Kyiv is getting hit hard, but we don't really have that here. What I can say about this city is Lviv is like it's got Polish roots, Polish and Hungarian roots. So in Ukraine's always been at war. Like it's nothing new. Like it's either been the Russians or it's been even the Mongolians came here. Genghis Khan came through here, So they've always been at war. So this part where I'm right now used to be part of the Hungarian Empire. So it's much more European on this side. So if I go walk around in this city here, it feels like you're in Krakow or in Prague. It's old. It's very historic. It's got the classical historic city center like you see in Prague and in Krakow. But then you go more east, and then you start seeing the Soviet the Soviet architecture, which I think is ugly.
Terrible,
It's
yeah.
Yeah, it's like square. There's a name for it, but I don't know the name for it. But yeah, it's a beautiful city. Lviv is very beautiful. It's got a lot of restaurants. Like it's a very touristic city. Um, there's martial law in Ukraine right now, so that means if you're a man, a male between the age of 18 and 60, you cannot leave the country. Like everybody is stuck here. Like the men are stuck. If they try to leave the country, it's they will go to prison.
Wow. And do they get rounded up to go and fight, or is that just also a nonsense story?
No, they do. Yeah. So there's something called Titsika. So I don't know what it's short for, but they call him Titsika. And Titsika is military guys. That's like at the train stations, at walking around in city centers, and they'll stop men and they'll check their document. Yeah. And if you don't have the document, and there's some horrible stories where these guys like dragging people into a van and then off they go to the war. So that I don't like about this war. Like we spoke about national service, in South Africa, everybody had to go to war. Everybody had to go to the army, and the way they're doing it here. But I've read now that Zelensky has appointed a new commander in the military, and they're working on changing this because a lot of guys are living in fear about this. Like they're not going out; they're staying at home. They're too scared to go to the shops, too scared to go to the cinema, to the shopping mall. So they just stay at home, and it's a problem, like for psychological issues, like okay, so there's PTSD, the guys that's on the front line. They're getting hit hard. And then there's the guys at home that don't want to go to the war, and they're hiding at home for 4 years now. So they're smoking marijuana, drinking heavy, playing video games. Like this is their life, like I'm lucky because I'm a foreigner. I cannot be drafted into this war. The Titsika can stop me, and they have, and I just show my passport, and then they say, okay, well, they can't touch me. So yeah, it's sad. Yeah. I mean, you guys, I don't think a lot of people from here knows about this, but yeah.
That just sounds horrible. But for you now, you said you go out to restaurants, no problem, no restrictions.
Yeah,
you
no
say
problems.
that the martial law is just about leaving Ukraine.
Well, there's a curfew.
Oh, it is a curfew.
So we have a curfew, so that's midnight.
Okay.
It's not so
Till
strict
6,
where Yeah, till 5 a.m. So where I live, it's not so strict. So there's been many times where I've been out a little bit drunk, walking home. So and then I've been stopped by the Tsika, but normally I don't have any issues, right? But yeah, there's a curfew. There's other things. There's other laws like so I purchased a second vehicle. I have a like right now I have a Jeep and I bought a Tesla as well. And that's like a business venture that I'm working on. I'm going to rent it out as a taxi business to taxi drivers. But we've got power outages, maybe. So
Yeah,
hopefully that gets better, right? But yeah, so there's a law here that if you're an owner of two cars, the government can take your second car and use it for the war.
whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I have a Jeep, and so technically they can take my Jeep and they can use it for the war because I have two cars. But I'm on a volunteer visa. Yeah, I do some volunteer work as well. So I'm part of a organization. It's called UA Lifeline, and it's nothing serious. It's a friend of mine that I met in Kyiv many years ago, and he's a veteran as well. So he's got this volunteer organization. So I'm part of that. So we use the car for that as well. So I think my car is safe because I am doing some participation. Nothing serious. Like I went to Sumy last year to the east. It's about 30 kilometers from the border with Russia. And so we went there. We did some training with the Ukrainian military. We took them some medical equipment, some medical training, stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm a little bit involved, but not much.
And the restaurants operate like normal, and people go out and they go about their
Yeah, I
daily
mean,
lives.
yes, see, the food is nice here. It's very tasty, good dishes. It's fresh. Ukrainian food is very tasty. Like I would recommend for everybody to. If there's probably now Ukrainian restaurants all over Europe with all the refugees that's left, and they've all started businesses as well. So you'll find a Ukrainian restaurant probably in your city, and go and go there for one night. And order borscht. It's a soup. It's a traditional soup. It's like a beetroot, tomato, cabbage soup. Very, very tasty. And yeah, so I recommend everybody to go and try some Ukrainian food if you can.
So I was going to ask you about dishes and things like meat. Is that readily available?
Yes, but it's not as nice as South African meat.
I don't think any
Like,
meat is as nice.
yeah, that's one thing I do miss is our meat.
Okay.
But yeah, they like pork and chicken here, and it's also poor, right? And beef is quite expensive.
And so you've said that you've made friends and so on. Have the Ukrainian people been quite welcoming to foreigners and outsiders?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm single now, so I go on a lot of dates. So I quite like the culture here. It's very similar to Afrikaans culture. It's very conservative. It's very religious people. So that's sort of why I came here as well, because Western Europe is becoming a little bit too vogue for me.
Hmm.
So Poland as well. Poland, it's still very much conservative and traditional like us Afrikaners. So I guess maybe in that sense, I find a similarity. The guys are very friendly, but once you get to know them, they're not as friendly as us South Africans, where you walk in the morning and people's like, "Good morning." It's not like that. But once you get through there, I say it's like an onion. You have to peel a little bit away the layers, and once you start getting into their life, they'll be they're always helpful. Like I have a big problem here with the language. I can speak Ukrainian enough in the restaurants and on the streets, and and to have basic conversation. But I can't like solve big problems. Like if the car wheel needs changed, I need to get the translator out, or I need somebody to translate for me. So, but yeah, very friendly, and yeah, I think I think they're very open to foreigners. Yeah.
And if you can speak Ukrainian, can you speak Russian as well? Is it very similar
So
to
yeah,
Russian?
so Kyiv used so Kyiv is where the country starts splitting a little bit. So before the war, Kyiv was predominantly Russian speaking. So my ex-girlfriend, she's from Donetsk, so there they speak Russian. So
Okay.
I was going to a Russian speaking school. I went to like speaking Russian speaking clubs and trying to improve my Russian. But then when I moved to the West, Ukraine has always been a little bit against speaking Russian. This part of Ukraine is very Ukrainian, very patriotic. So when you come to the West, they don't like it when you speak Russian. So I had to switch.
Okay.
So yeah.
I have to, I mean, I chuckled after we spoke on the phone the other day when you said you can speak enough Ukrainian to ask, you married.
Yeah. So, like I say, so I'm going on a lot of dates here, and sometimes I don't speak English. So, I've had a couple of like girls that don't speak English, and yeah, we for some way we figure it out, and and I like it because my Ukrainian also improves a lot more. So
Absolutely.
when I'm with somebody that speaks English, my Ukrainian it doesn't grow.
Excellent. And John, one of your TikTok videos, and we'll talk about your TikTok at the end, but you talked about average salaries in South Africa compared to what it's like there, and just comparing cost of living in Ukraine versus South Africa.
Yeah, so I mean so average salary in Ukraine is $500 a month. I think
Sure.
even that's on the high end. Like I think some people are on $200. $200 to $500 is your average person. That's sort of what. But there's a big IT sector here, so there's a lot of people here that software developers, like Ukrainers, and that's why they're becoming a big player now in the drone technology in
I saw
Ukraine.
that. Yeah.
And I think it's because of this IT sector that they have here. There's so they're clever people, and so if you're an IT, you're earning a good salary. So all the guys in the nice cars and stuff, they're probably working in IT. They're either maybe somebody, a diplomat in the government or something like this, and they're probably a little bit corrupt. It happens everywhere. I don't know. I'm not judging, but that's
Mm.
that's my theory. But most guys are on IT and they're earning $5,000, $10,000 a month, and for Ukraine, that's an amazing salary. Like I can go out to a restaurant here, have a 3-course meal, and it's 15 euros.
What? That is unbelievable.
15, 20. It just depends where I go. I mean, I can go to a Lani place and it's the same prices
Yeah.
as Europe, but in general, you can find very cheap here. So my rent, for example, so I'm living in a 1-bedroom living room. My rent is $650 a month. They like to pay in dollars. So whenever you pay for rent, it's in dollars because the
Okay.
currency is so volatile. So, but gas and electricity, for me, it's about 40 euros a month in the winter. So I use more gas and electricity. So yeah, cost of living is cheaper here, but you want to earn money online. You want to earn your euros. You want to earn to come and work here for their currency. It's not a good idea.
Okay. And that's your business. So you earning, your business is online, you said.
Yeah, I earn pounds.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of just thinking about, do people drink beer and vodka? Is it similar to elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, so they have a problem here, like even in Russia as well. The guys die young. Like a lot of girls I meet, their fathers are dead because not just because of a war, because they drink too much. And I used to like it, like that sort of, us South Africans, we have a big drinking culture as well, and here as well. So here you'll see a bunch of older guys sitting at a table, and there will always be a bottle of vodka on the table. They don't they don't order they order bottles. And so they'll have the pickles, they'll have the onions, and salo. Salo is like pork fat. So you'll take a shot of vodka, and they love to toast. So they'll always make toast. So whenever you go to a birthday here or something like that, there's always a toast. And everybody toasts. And then it's like, Davai, Butmo, and then the vodka shot. And I used to like it, but then I saw my khatia one night. I got too drunk, and I ended up in a hospital. Yeah, and that was New Year's Eve, and it was a public hospital, so it's like an African hospital. And so after that night, I decided to stop drinking. So I don't drink anymore, even though it's very cheap to drink here. Like vodka is cheaper than water, and it's tasty vodka. Actually, it's vodka was invented in Ukraine. It's called horilka. That's the proper word for vodka, horilka. But the Russians say it's theirs, so I don't know who's right or wrong, but yeah. So yeah, big drinking culture. Yeah.
And do they brew their own beer, Ukrainian beer as well?
Yeah, I mean they've got the craft beer here. So the craft beer, there's a lot of craft bars. It's very modern, and they spend a lot of money on it. Maybe they're laundering money, or it's a way of laundering money. But there's a lot of beautiful restaurants here. There's a lot of beautiful cocktail bars. They've got breweries here. Like you go into a craft beer place, and they've got all the big tanks there, and they're making their own beer. Lviv is very popular for beer. So they have a beer here called Pravda. Pravda means truth in Ukrainian. So it's a really nice beer. If you like craft beer, like my favorite beer is from Scotland. It's the Brewdog, and
Oh, yes.
my second favorite beer is this Pravda beer. Yeah, it's very tasty, and they have a huge selection.
Excellent. And you briefly mentioned ending up in hospital. What's the healthcare like? You say the public hospitals like Africa is there decent
Yes,
private healthcare?
yeah. So the private healthcare is it's good. It's but not everybody can afford it.
Okay, so it
So
is expensive.
so normally I would do, like, if I am sick or I need something, I would go to a private clinic, and it's about 500 grivnas for consultation, which is about 250 rand. So that you see a doctor, and then they'll say, okay, you need X-ray, blood or whatever, and then you'll have to come back, and it's very good. Like the private healthcare in Ukraine is better than in Europe.
That's amazing.
Uh,
And
yeah,
do the doctors not get called up to go and work on the front and help with medical services in the war?
yeah. There's a lack of labor here. Construction, like my friend is a Ukrainian. He's got construction company, and he's struggling with getting guys because
It's
you
because
know.
they work in Portugal. There's so many Ukrainian guys work
Yeah,
on
yeah.
construction. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But the female, the Ukrainian women are very strong. Like I would say Ukrainian. So in Ukrainian and Russian, whenever a word finishes with the word, so like a bath is called a vana. So that's a female. They have the female genders, like a can is either male or female. It's a very complicated language. Ukrainian is, if you say Ukrainian and Ukrainian, it's Ukraina.
Okay.
So and Russia. So it always finishes with a A. And I believe the reason why is because the women are very strong women. Yeah, the men think they're in charge, but it's actually the women that's in charge. And these women like money. Like they like luxury. Like you've probably seen some beautiful Ukrainian girls. They're very beautiful, but they don't come cheap. Like if you choose a Ukrainian girl, you're gonna have to cook. It's gonna be. It's not a. You have to. It's gonna come at a cost price.
You got it.
But anyway, so what I'm saying is that a lot of the females have stepped in. So there's a lot of women that's like, working in pharmacies, working in restaurants, doing administrative jobs, doctors. But there's still a lot of guys around. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how to answer that, but I see doctors,
Okay. Okay.
male doctors.
And you mentioned when we spoke the other day, you showed me the snow outside. Have you adapted to the weather? I mean, going by Scotland and then into Ukraine, are you
Yeah.
comfortable with the
So
weather?
Scotland, I don't know how I survived there for 12 years. Like really, like Scotland, it's like Ireland. Yeah. So I think a lot of us South Africans were in Ireland, and yeah, it's miserable in Scotland. So yeah, it's more seasonal. So it's spring, it's autumn, it's winter, it's summer. In
Okay.
Scotland, you don't really know. So, but this winter has been tough. It's been a tough winter. It's been very cold, a lot of snow. It's been colder than like for 100 years, like apparently. So yeah, it's been tough this winter, but and it's depressing. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know if I want to do another winter here. It's dark now. It's 7, so 4:30 p.m. The sun starts going down. But in Scotland, it's even worse. Like in Scotland, the sun will start going down at 2 p.m. in the winter. But then in the summer, it goes down at 11 p.m.
But I guess also, I mean, it's important to have the right clothing. You're not gonna walk
Yeah.
around
So
the Ukraine in K-weight jackets.
yeah. So I don't know. In so the first time I saw Russian people was in Finland, in Helsinki, and because they also have a brutal history of Russia. Like every country next to Russia has had a difficult time. So the first time I saw Russians was in Helsinki, and they had this fur, this fur,
Mm-hmm.
and this typical how we imagine Russians to look like. So yeah, they have the same. They wear the fur coats and the fur hats. So they know how to dress here. They're obviously equipped for the. So if you do decide to come here, you want to wear a nice jacket. You want to get a scarf. You want to get a hat. You need some gloves. You want to get the thermals. The under. So yeah, you need those stuff. Once you have those stuff, and you want lacquer shoes, because it's ice, so you slip on the ice. So you want something that can stick to the ice. But it's very beautiful. I'm close to the Carpathian Mountains. Carpathian Mountains are so beautiful. Like I would recommend everybody. Like West Ukraine, it's safe. Like if anybody wants to come and visit Ukraine, I would say West Ukraine it's a good. Come to Lviv and then go to Bukoval. Bukoval is like a ski resort.
Okay.
It's about
And
4
yeah,
hours.
and you said you can't fly into Ukraine, but you can fly into
No,
Prague or
no.
Krakow. Or,
Yeah, so so I usually take one of three routes. So either Warsaw, from Warsaw I'll take the train to Rava-Ruska, and then I change train in Rava-Ruska, then it comes on to Rava-Ruska is in Ukraine, but the passport control is at Rava-Ruska. And then the second one is Krakow. Krakow is also an easy destination, so you'll get the train or a bus. But the border is a nightmare. So you can sometimes, if you come by bus, or by car, you can sit on the borders. Like the longest I've sat at the border was 10 hours
whoa,
because
that's unbelievable.
the whole country is coming in and out on the border. So if it's busy season, if it's before Christmas or before Easter, you're sitting on that border for hours. And
Whoa,
if you've got a
that's
flight, if you have a flight, you miss your flight. So it's quite stressful. And then the third destination it's in Budapest.
okay.
So Budapest is like a easy destination as well.
And John, we're starting to get towards the end, but just briefly, you in South Africa recently. What was that like for you? Be honest.
Yeah, so I mean I'm from the East Rand, so and it's gone. It's I mean there's still nice area where my dad lives. He's in the gated community, but where I went to school is now it's not squatter camps, but it's slums. You know, like these flats. Where my grandpa used to live, it's now rubbish everywhere outside. There's people with tents on the outside on the grass. There's prostitutes, and there's I even see white prostitutes now as well in
Oh,
like in black areas. You know, it's like all black guys. I think it's a lot of foreigners as well. I'm not sure if it's 100% black South Africans. I think it's a lot of Zimbabweans and Mozambique and these people. So and it's terrible for me. It's harder to see that than in what I see in Ukraine. Like
that's
I've seen some stuff here in Ukraine, and I know Ukraine's going to get through this. But how is South Africa going to get through that? You know, I think it's a downhill spiral from here. You know, like how are they going to get everybody up to a decent level where everybody has something to lose? Because right
yeah,
now people are committing crime because they have nothing to lose.
that's very true. Yeah.
So
No, that's very true, but it may be, yeah, as you say, it's a bit of a reality check for you as well. I mean, obviously, you said you may not live in Ukraine forever. South Africa is not on the cards as an option for you.
I think it's good to live between both. Like
Okay.
it's like I don't want to earn rands. Like I don't want to be part like in my TikTok channel I make videos where I went to change money at the bank, like dollars. I couldn't even change $100 for rands. They wanted I didn't have my passport at the time. It's so controlled. Like why can't you just change $100? I know it's not a big deal, but here in Ukraine I can go now and they'll take the money because. So I don't want to be part of the ANC's plan. Like as long as the ANC is in charge, like I know in the Cape it's different. You've got the DA, but as long as the ANC is in Gauteng, I will never ever go back to South Africa. I want the ANC gone, and I want them to. It's like Putin. Like I feel the same way about Ramaphosa and all these buddies. Then I feel like Putin. And they're
No,
all corrupt. They're all corrupt, you know. And it's the poor people on the street that pays the price.
no, I hear you. I hear you. That's amazing. You touched on the TikTok videos. How did that come about?
You know, so I get quite a like. There's been a few videos where I've hit a nerve, and it got a lot of views. The first video I made was about the black guys that was caught here in Lugansk. You know, they were poached. They were offered jobs in Russia, and then they ended up in the war. So my first video was about that, and I just made I just made a warning, and I said, if somebody approaches you and they offer you a job in Russia, because there's a lot of desperate people in South Africa. And if somebody says, we're going to pay you $2,000 a month, you know, if I was living in a squatter camp, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll go, right? And so these guys got caught up in this war. So I just made a video and I just said, listen, you're gonna end up in a war and you're gonna die. And these Russians don't care about like all the black people in South Africa think Russia is their friends because Russia supported the ANC during apartheid. But these Russians don't care. They didn't even care about their own people. So anyway, so I made this video and it got some traction. And then I was like, okay, well, if I talk about political things and I mention certain things in the video, I get quite a lot of views. So I kept going with it. And, but now I'm a bit tired of political videos. I would rather make positive videos about positive things, but you just don't get the same views. Like people like this they like this drama. So I'm not sure I'm going to go with the TikTok, but yeah, I tried to make it part. There's a couple of nice videos where I go into restaurants and I show the food and stuff like that. I would like to make a business around TikTok at some point. I don't know how, but that's the plan.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's interesting. And I've seen some of your videos have had crazy numbers of views. What is, just for the listeners, what is your TikTok handle?
So it's diary. Let me just check here. Let me one night I just created it, a profile. I didn't really, diary _ Safa _ John _ travel. Yeah. Or John 05735.
Cool. But diary _ Safa _ John _ travel.
Yeah. So,
Awesome. No, well, people can.
so I would love to, and I've started doing TikTok lives. So, and then a couple of people tune in and then we talk.
Well, I mean,
I don't like to talk.
how,
Yeah.
that's how we met. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about politics. It's not always good to talk politics. It's always good to focus on things we can change. So, yeah. So, but that's the plan, to make a business out of TikTok.
Awesome. And I mean, getting close to the end, but if you met a young John coming out of matric today and knowing what you know now, what would you have advised him? To do exactly what you did, or to go a different route?
So I would say I wish I saved more. So everybody goes to the UK back then, to earn money, to earn the pounds, and then to buy a house in South Africa. Now I would say not necessarily do that, but invest, like get financially educated. So take the opportunity of when you're earning these, when you do decide to leave South Africa, and you come to these international countries for better life, because we're also refugees in a way. I think, my opinion, like Ukrainians. So if you do decide to come abroad and you're young, make sure you don't do stupid things by drinking too much, partying and drinking, because it's expensive to drink, and especially if you go to West Europe, like the Netherlands. Netherlands, in Amsterdam, it's nearly 12 euros, 15 euros for a beer. So when you're earning the euros, make sure you get yourself financially educated so you can take this money and you can invest it either in the stock market, or you can save up. You can build a credit score wherever you are, like try to build a credit score, try to buy some property in these first world countries and maybe rent it out. And so I wish I was more financially educated when I came over to the UK. I would have made much better decisions and I would have been in a better position. But no, us South Africans, we are thinking about braai and dop, brandewyn and Coke and a chop,
Yeah, that's very true, but that's very sound advice.
Yeah, I see my cousins, they're 21 years old, and I'm like, come on, guys, like, like focus on investing, getting financially educated. So yeah, that's my biggest advice for youngsters. And I wish I had somebody that took me under the wing, because my dad's an engineer. He never really showed me anything. My mom, she was a housewife. So us South Africans, I think we never had the exposure to the internet as much as they had in America and those places.
So it's very, very true.
Yeah.
Excellent. You said that when I asked about the meat, you said you miss South African meat. Is there anything else you miss from South Africa?
I miss Afrikaans. I miss speaking Afrikaans. I think our South Afrikaans language is it's a language that's I think it's gonna die out one day, maybe. I don't know. I can't see it lasting for 200-300 years. Like so many Afrikaners have left, and for some reason they lose the accent. They're not proud to be Afrikaners. So I miss Afrikaans. I miss the braai, the bush. I miss the bush. My mom lives in the bush outside Bela Bela, or Warmbad.
Warmbad.
Yeah, Warmbad. And I love going there, and I love sitting there around the fire and hearing all the the insects, and there's like a kudu walking there, and there's a gemsbok, and like I really miss that. We really have a beautiful country, and some people they tolerate. The problem with like here in Ukraine, people are used to bombs falling now. They're used to sirens, like it's part of life. And in South Africa, people are used to things getting run down into the ground, like things not working, and they just accept it. So I think we can also learn from the Ukrainians, and we can also fight for keeping things people accountable. Like if our government is corrupt and stealing everything, and nothing is working, no electricity, the water pipes are bursting, the robots are getting stolen. Like in Kempton, 50% of the traffic lights don't work. It's treated like a stop street. And people need to keep people accountable. So I miss South Africa, but just the people, the spirit. But I'll probably go back with a Ukrainian wife. one day, maybe. So
Oh, that sounds awesome. My word, I really enjoyed chatting to you. John, thank you. Thank you so much for being available and just sharing the Ukraine. I think it's awesome to just get a picture from somebody who's actually living there. So
yeah.
I really
So
want to say thank you.
if anybody has got adventure bone in them, come over to Ukraine. Write me a message on TikTok, and I'll be more as happy to show people, like show them around here in Ukraine and pointing them, like in the right direction if they want to come over. I think it's okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. As always, if this episode resonated with you, you're welcome to share it with someone who might need to hear it, and you can find out more on the relocatedSouthAfrican.com, where all our podcasts are listed. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.